Hello guys and welcome to the channel. So in today's video, we are going to be talking about money management for beginners and low income earners. So the first thing you want to do, you need to know how much money is coming in. That is your income. So you need to know how much money you make because you cannot manage your money if you do not know how much money you make at the end of each month, okay? So the first thing you want to do is to make sure you document how much income that comes in every month, okay? There are some people who receive payments daily or weekly. So you want to document how much money you make. You need to know how much money you make at the end of each month. So the next thing now is you have to divide that income that comes in into 3 parts, okay? You have expenses, you have savings, and you have investment. So the first part, let us talk about expenses. Expenses simply means that things that you spend your money on, okay, in a month. So you need to also know what your money is being spent on, like how your money is going, where your money is going and how it's going. That is also very important. So you need to write down your basic needs, the things you spend your money on, the things you cannot do without. For example, house rent, transportation, food, or grocery shopping, okay? That is very important. These are the basic necessities. Then if you have things like cream and all these other things that you buy, you also want to put that into consideration. So the first thing is to sit down and write down everything you need in a month, basic necessities, okay? Things that you cannot live without. You write them down and you know how much that is going to cost you every month, okay? You write down how much you pay for your house rent, how much you pay for grocery shopping and transportation. So you have a proper knowledge of your expenses, okay? So after writing the amount of money that you spend on expenses, the next thing now is to decide how much you are going to be saving every month and how much you are going to be investing every month. So these are the 3 parts in which you have to divide your income. We have expenses, we have savings, and we have investments, okay? Now for the savings, when we talk about savings, the first savings has to do with emergency fund, okay? That is, what is emergency fund? Emergency fund simply means that if you have something you need to do that is urgent, that requires money, you have that money lying down somewhere for you to take, okay? So that is the savings. Now for investment, investments have to do with assets, like building assets that will help you out in the long run, okay? So that is what we are talking about. 3, we have your basic expenses or your expenses and savings and investments, okay? So now that you know how much you spend in a month, you want to divide your income into these 3 parts, okay? And since the expenses are usually the bigger part of it, this is what majority of your income goes into. So you want to make sure that the portion in which you put out or you set out for expenses is usually greater. Usually, I recommend 70%. That is 70% of your income goes towards your expenses. That is the things that you need to survive, okay? And then 20% of your income goes into savings. That is your emergency fund. Then 10% of your income goes into investment, okay? So you might say, for instance, I earn very little and I can barely save. So if you earn very little, this rule is really going to help you. Just when you get your salary at the end of every month, the first thing you want to do is to remove your savings. That is your emergency fund, which is the 20%. The next thing is to remove the 10% for your investment. And the last is to remove the 70% for your expenses. Just program it in your mind that you are working on 70%. what will this do? This will help you to buy just the things that you need. You are not going to spend money on things that you do not need. You are not going to spend money to buy things that are not important. That is why money management is very important. You can call it budgeting. That is very important because it helps you not only to save and invest, but it also helps you not to buy things that you do not need, okay? And no money is ever small. No salary is ever small. It all depends on how you manage your money, okay? Little tiny steps, that is what leads to greatness. All you have to do is to be consistent, and you also have to be upgrading your budgeting plan, okay? That is every month as your income increases, you also want to update your budget, okay? So why are we trying to manage our money? We are trying to manage our money so that we can grow wealth, okay? So that we can build wealth and become financially independent. And you cannot become financially independent if you do not know how to manage your money, okay? So budgeting is very important. So as you are watching this video, I want you to take out a piece of paper and you write down all your basic expenses, your basic needs, and everything in which without you cannot survive. So just write them down on the piece of paper and see what you need in a month. Is it your house rent? Is it your feeding, transportation, and maybe your cream, your makeup and everything, hair and everything? Just write them down and you put the total at the end. You see how much you have left. Now from this total and from your income, you can now decide on how much you can save. If you say 20% is too much for you, you can always allocate maybe 75% and 15% for savings and 10% for investment, or you allocate 80% for expenses, 10% for savings and 10% for investment. Guys, this is very important. These tiny steps that you take today are going to really improve your life in the future, okay? So do not say, no, I don't spend much. I don't spend much. You never know. Once you track down your expenses and you know how much you spend in a month, it's going to really shock you. You are going to be shocked at how much money you spend in a month without you even knowing. So guys, the first step to take control of your finances, you have to know how to manage your money. So do whatever you can to practice budgeting today. Write down all the expenses and you deduct it from your salary. You look at how much is left, how much you can save, and how much you can invest. I personally, I will advise that when you get your salary, the first thing you do, you remove your 20% for your savings and you keep it in a high yield savings account. You remove your 10% and you put it directly to your investment account, and the rest of the money you plan on the remaining 70% that you have. This will help you to be able to buy just the things that you need, to be able to save for your future, and also to be able to invest so that you get financially free. If you found this information helpful, please subscribe to the channel, give me a like, and leave your comments in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching. See you in my next one. Bye.